Vodafone presents the pre-match.
We've almost reached the end of the road, and that road ending in Odense, Denmark, a very, very nice place, one of which last time we were there was really cold, but it's sure to be warm and heated up this time around because the ESL Pro League Season 8 finals will be culminating into this beautiful city, the leader in technology in the Scandinavian region. Chad, back to you.
I don't know.
Breaking news,
We've got some breaking news, everybody! Coming through thick and fast, DreamHack Atlanta qualifiers were just happening, and Vitality, the new French team with MBK and Apex, have qualified for DreamHack Atlanta. I thought that was breaking news, because I know a lot of people want to know how that new French team's doing. Well, they're doing pretty good. What do you think, Trace?
Yeah, man, I love Atlanta.
Yeah. Good
for them. Moreover, it'll be exciting to see them there and how they can do.
I thought
and
you
if they
excited.
really are this French super team that we think they might be. The term super team gets thrown around so much.
Throw it out. Get rid of it.
It needs to go. It's got to go.
Let's get rid of it.
And when we're talking about super teams, one of these might fit the bill. The other one is struggling to find their way up there, but nonetheless, they might find it eventually. It's going to be Heroic versus mousesports, our last two maps of the day. As we begin to take a look at these two teams, Chad, right off the get-go, let's start talking about Heroic.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Not everyone can be the best team in the world. Not everyone can even be the best team in their region. Heroic are neither the best team in the world, nor the best team in their region, nor will they probably ever be better than a top 10 team. And that isn't meant to be said to sound harsh. That's just realistic expectations. Now, these guys right here, they have a lot of parts which have played Counter-Strike throughout the I guess all iterations of the game. If you look towards Modi, he was a 1.6 player. Freiburg was a Source player. They've obviously moved across to CSGO, and they've found success throughout different teams, throughout different years, throughout different tournaments. Freiburg's even won a major. They've got 3 Danes with them. S-Tag, Asilian, and Mertz. Mertz will be on that AWP. S-Tag as a secondary AWP, maybe all-round player, and Asilian doing the in-game leadership role. But my point here is that these guys are always going to put up a fight. I don't think that they ever have the capability to become, you know, a top 3 team in the world, but definitely realistically within the realms of a top 10 team and maybe being on the cusp of qualifying for ESL Pro League, that is definitely a possibility.
There is a possibility, and there's also the factor you have to take into equation. They might have just the right mix of players with veterancy attached to their name and younger guns.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the player for me who has the most impact, at least in the games that I see them winning, at least in the games that I'm watching, has to be S-Tag. He's very impressive to me. He's a player with fantastic movement, and he can do it all. For a period of time throughout his tenure in Heroic, he was more of a supportive player. He's also been like more of a star player in the games they win on the rifle, on the AWP. Now Mertz has come in. He's taken away some of those AWPing duties away from S-Tag. But I think, you know, this team here is definitely a very solid roster. They continue to change the way that they approach the game when new members come in and out. And at this point, going up against the mousesports, who, you know, it wasn't easy against FaZe. It is possible for them to steal a win here tonight.
Now, I love the Heroic lineup.
Why?
Well, because they have that such a diversity there. But one, and I can't recall for the life of me who said it, but it was something along the lines of these guys are kind of leftovers from a couple different teams, right?
Well, they're like the leftovers of the leftovers, right? Yeah. You have to look at this, that within the Danish ranks, we now have 4 teams that we would consider very, very good, very well-rounded, right? We have Astralis, they're the top dog. North, I would say, have to be number 2. Optic coming in within that 3rd spot. But Heroic, I think, could argue that they deserve that 3rd spot over Optic. If you put them head-to-head with the results, they're definitely on a very similar, I guess, pecking order.
Well, we are going into train, but maybe we can load up the standings and see where Heroic is sitting at some point after this video and probably show just the deficit between mousesports and Heroic in terms of that road to Odense. Now, mousesports, the lineups are this. We talked a little bit about, you know, this team having some lineup issues, Snacks out, Stiko back in. But with Heroic, it seems like a consistent middle of the pack.
Yeah, and as you can see right here, we do have Mounds on the cusp. They're in 7th spot right now. You need to be top 7 if you want to make it to the playoffs, get on that road that Trace keeps talking about. Whereas Heroic of that team, in my mind, who their best bet is battling to stay out of the bottom 3, stay out of that relegation. You'll probably see these guys come in anywhere from 11th to 7th place. And if they're able to scrape through with that 7th place, they will be able to book themselves a spot in the final. But the competition is absolutely fierce within those 3 to 4 positions. And I think if you consider the fact that they have to go up against mousesports right now, if they have to go up against mousesports right now on 2 maps, splitting 1 would be good. I think that I can...
Well, Chad, you know, looking at the EU standings, it's still a long, arduous road for either of these teams.
Yes.
I don't think that either of these teams have.
We're having a meltdown right now. It's the last day. Why is it all melting down?
It's all come apart, Chad.
I'm trying to just keep talking. I can see you're over there. You're talking to production. I'm running out of things to say.
30 seconds.
I think you've done great, Chad. Here's one thing I want you to say, and that is got to be with a haste. Who is going to win this damn game?
Mousesports.
That's it.
That's all I got to say.
All right, so if you're guessing at home or what some of you do, which is betting, you might want to consider putting it on mousesports because they're taking on Heroic and the map is Train. And I do believe, had 2 new commentators in the fold, a little bit of Tom, Biz, and Risk. Risk, tell us why you were late.
That's a good question. Airports in Denmark apparently aren't as good as I thought they were. And I've been on the road for now 11 hours almost for a 40-minute flight. So yeah, but I'm finally here, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's unreal. Genuinely, you had a much shorter distance than I did, and you still managed to get here about 4 or 5 hours after me, which is insane. But you got here in the end. You still managed to. He said you were late. Technically, you were on time for the cast.
I was in the chair at the correct time, and that's all that matters, Tom. And the fact that it took almost 12 hours to get here is just another funny little side note. Heroic versus Mousesports, of course, as the guys on the desk said, we are fighting for spots at Odense. I'm just going to correct all of you guys that's been in the studio for the last couple of weeks. It's not Odense or Odense or something like that. It's Odense. Now we have that. We can go into the game.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try and pronounce at all. I'll just leave it for you and just say, like, yeah, we're heading over to, and then you can do the rest. Either way, when it comes to the match, I think most of these names in-game I should be able to pronounce correctly, although you're probably going to tell me I've been doing all the Danish ones wrong for the whole of my life. It's not S-Tag, is it? It's probably something else?
Actually, that one's pretty close, so I'll give you that.
It's not Easy Tag, then?
No.
Okay. I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, we... like, actually, Asilian, Mertz, S-Attack, East Attack, whatever you want to call them, those are all pretty easy to pronounce.
Easy for Easy Tag. Either way, I think... I as well am going to be siding with Mouse for this one, and they have got themselves the early advantage in this pistol already. Sunny doing the work to keep that going, although he is getting dinked up, still finding damage and leaving it into a 2 versus 4. A difficult position now for this T-side to hold on to. They have managed to get themselves the bomb plant at least, but Modi missing tons of shots will leave it all on to S-Tag. And well, unless this Molotov really can do damage. They don't actually have a smoke, but I think there's going to be plenty of time for them to defuse this, and actually they may just be able to hold on to it, and Sticko, no trouble there.
Yeah, S-Attack just a couple of seconds off on that Molotov, but with the way he's being pressured on low, it's very hard to get to that position and get the Molotov down in time. You don't want to take any risks in a round like that. And yeah, he plays it a little bit too safe and ends up losing it. But in a 1v4 with a single Molotov, he's not expected to win the round. Mousesports 1-0, as we probably expected. The desk said, or Chad said, Mousesports. I'm probably going to have to agree with that, even though of course I'm obviously Danish. I still think it would
obviously
be
bias.
It would be wrong to say that Mousesports are not the favorite. I definitely think they're the favorite. The addition of Sticko back to the team, I think, helps them a lot in the roles in the team and how they play out on the maps. Helps other players shine even more. Robs, Oscar, Sonny, even Chris J can all step up. And
it's because they're not fully Danish, isn't it? That's what it is. That's why you're not going full Danish with your prediction.
Chris J, though, no mistakes here. As he picks up one with the Orc. And Modi, Blessed Eagle in hand, not going to find anything so far. Looks like a pretty standard round here, as we usually do see after the update. Just a singular pistol bolt, and then it's going to be the full buy in the round after.
Yeah, just trying to do a little bit of extra damage, and Modi will actually be able to find one, so not too much of a problem there. And going into the next round, as you said, there'll be a decent purchase coming in. Doesn't manage to find the extra kill, but this is where that sort of the extra money really pays a big factor here, as now Heroic can come in with a full buy. Obviously, that is one of the more recent changes made by Valve. And well, go on, what's your opinion then, Risk? I want to hear it. What do you like it? Are you against it? Are you angry? Are you going to fight Valve?
I'm unsure at this point. I want to see a couple of more... I actually want to see a couple more big LAN events to see how it works out, because that's usually where the teams really figure out how it works and how it really like pressures on like the hard rounds. But one thing that I do like is that it becomes a little bit nostalgic to me, because back when I was playing back in Source and 1.6, what you would do is that if you lost a pistol, it would be straight 2 ecos and then a buy. Or 1 eco if you got the bomb plant and then a buy. And this actually resembles that. You have the round after the pistol round is a full eco, and that's like the old days. And I kind of miss those days when eco was an eco, and you kind of knew, okay, if we got an eco win, that was a huge thing. In the last 4 years of CS, like an eco, you could always get something, then get 2 P250s, a CZ, something in there. Now ecos are back to ecos, at least in this like second round.
Still, pretty decent purchase in the mousesports. We've got the AUG coming back into fashion a little bit. Obviously, well, a gun that hasn't really been too fashionable recently, but it can sort of, especially I feel like for players who are actually using the silenced M4, it can be quite a nice change. Like you just throw in the AUG when you want those extra bullets, depending on the position you're playing. It's
a really interesting weapon. I actually been playing a lot with it, especially in straight up duels, in straight up aim duels. It can be really interesting. The same with the Krieg, as it usually is. But yeah, it's gonna take a few weeks to find out if it's actually really gonna have a place. But now we're gonna see the outside execution. Oscar, always on point with the AWP. Double frag for him. Still alive, but S-Attack and Freiburg both come chiming in. Triple frag for Oscar. Finally will be taken out, but Sunny's there in position, and now Freiburg 1v2.
Yeah, he doesn't have the time. He has to go running for that bomb. Only 10 seconds on the clock, and Rops is perfectly placed. Still goes down, though. If he can get this kill, maybe he has a chance. Actually, there is enough time on the clock, but he's going to try and bait things out. Freiburg! Oh, on the last second, Sunny will put him down. It's too close for comfort, but it is close for the Swede.
I always thought he had it there. Do you see the replay here? Sunny just in time. Picking out that frag.
That's the all-in play, though.
Yeah,
he had nothing else to do there other than look for the kill once he faked that bomb plant.
All or nothing.
Yeah, you got to respect the effort still. Loss bonus growing to quite a significant portion now, in fact. They can afford to invest into some extra pistols. We see Mertz looking to save a little bit of extra cash for that AWP. And, well, I definitely think it's going to be important in this matchup. He's got 2 deadly AWPers up against him. Not only Oscar is the primary, but Chris J, to be honest, I would say this is one of, if not the deadliest double AWP setup in the world.
Yeah, probably. And Mertz, not a bad AWP himself, but will need to bring his A game to challenge these two. I think on a good day, he's definitely better than Chris J, but Oscar versus Mertz on a good day, I'll have to give that one to Oscar.
Oh, they're going to get the double as well. That is a ridiculous amount of utility damage already done, and, well, although this is only a pistol round, you still want to attempt to do something in it. It looked like the T's at least were setting up to try and get themselves a bomb plant over towards that B site, but they are going to switch this up. There's going to be even more utility damage. This time it doesn't quite do as much. Freiburg just about avoiding that. That is the sort of thing with HEs, though. A little bit of a corner caught, and well, it doesn't really do any damage at all. Sunny on the site has a fair bit of support here. They're trying to expend even more with the nades. Maybe just trying to do a pure HE round, but in the end, Sunny is there to clean things up. Steeko will steal one away, and mousesports keep that absolutely flawless, which is a pretty ridiculous start to their CT side.
Oh, for sure. This is some next level stuff coming from mousesports, and you really hit it there with the fact that they were trying to go inside and get that plan. That's why they invested in that utility. Molotovs to block off the positions of the CTs if they wanted to challenge for that early duel. Smokes to take it off. Flashes to get into the bomb site. But before all of that happened, just a double nade setup just stacked them, and the whole plan got wrecked. Forced them down into Pop Dog. Forced them to go outside. A position and an execute that doesn't really suit the setup that they had. And just totally threw the round off. Oscar now, after taking the initial duel, rotating back. Leaving it to Rops. Changing positions, now playing UMP 45 close range, and Oscar will be watching towards upper to make sure that is held as well. Heroic, what's the play now? This is the buy. They only have 2 smokes left. But 3 Molotovs.
Yeah, I will say for Heroic, like, in all honesty, if they can get a few rounds over on this T side, I wouldn't be overly worried. I feel like mousesports are one of those teams, especially Train. Train always has that question mark for me when it comes to mousesports, because I think of some of the craziest comebacks I've ever seen in the history of CS. It is mousesports on the T side of Train.
Yeah, that is true.
QB Fire to name one. Risk just like genuinely just like shriveled into his chair. Just like, don't let me remember that, Tom. Don't make me do it.
The PTSD is real. Chris J on point as well. And not too many smokes to block him off, but only a leg shot as far as I can see so far. Mertz with 1. Chris J hits 1 onto Freiburg. And now Mertz looking to equalize this.
That was actually almost a double there. Asilian got hit down to 37 HP. And again, the clock, they've only got 20 seconds to move into the site. S-Tag will be able to find the first pick, but Chris J's still here. They need to remove him. Finally, they do. 10 seconds left on the clock, and you know that the CTs are going to try and challenge to deny this plant. However, they're not going to be able to. The bomb will go down, and Rops, well, he doesn't really have the weapon for this sort of position. Needs to try and switch that out if he can, and actually, it looks like they're both just deciding to fall back.
Yeah, I think it's the wise choice in this position. That could be an AWP, and that AWP could rotate into every single angle at this point. Not that much money still left on the mousesports side. 2.6 on Stico, 3K on Robson and Chris J. So the wise choice here is to save. They have a 4-1 lead now, and still the economy control. So it's not all lost yet. They just need to rebound on this next buy. But nice for Heroic to finally get something done. And Robs will find S-Attack. So this will also mean that the economy is not going to grow for Heroic. They're only going to survive with 2 players. And that's always nice. If you, as a CT side, can... Yes, the T side can win rounds, but you can keep the economy down, making sure that they spend every single dime to get that rebuy going, and then you smack them in the face and win the next round, and then they're totally screwed on money.
Looks like they still have an AWP for Mertz at least, so he'll still get the chance to find the opener like he did in the previous round. And the CTs, it's not perfect, that's for sure. They've still got a few holes in there. A FAMAS, a UMP, not the ideal weapons. There's a few positions you can play, but you saw the problems of the last round. Chris J, very aggressive through the Molotov, and Freiburg would take that kill all day long. And an important punish in a very important round for this map, economy-wise at least.
Yeah. Just getting the upper hand, just get that 5v4. We all know how the statistics change when you get that first frag in these pro games, and just giving yourself that 20% edge. Now Mertz giving them even more than the 20% edge, winning the battle against Stico. And now it's up to Oscar and Sonny.
It looks almost like dominoes as we do see the CT side falling. Looks like Oscar had an opportunity there, but couldn't quite reposition for the second. And Sonny, well, he's normally one of the heavy fraggers for this team, but this seems like an impossible scenario. He'll slowly be surrounded, and Heroic will get not only the round, but also a reset. Now, I always feel like when I see this amount of money over on the CT side that there's a chance that they could just be like, you know what, I think Oscar and Chris J could win us this round. Like, there's got to be a temptation to bring those AWPs in.
Oh, for sure.
Give it a go, and already, well,
well, Mr. Tombiz with the prediction. And we're going to see it. We're going to see C-sets. We're going to see the double up setup. We're going to see some money saved on both Robs and Oscar. And of course, the full buy, apart from S-Attack, who thinks he's up against an eco right now. He's brought out the Mac 10, and Oscar starts things off. Now he's being pressured back.
Yeah, they've gone for a much faster play into this one already. Chris J is going to find the second kill in this round. Another one for him. These AWPs are doing all of the work. And, well, funnily enough, the only kill is going to come in off that Mac 10, able to shred off one. And that's just the problem with this team, this mousesports team. You get a couple of orbs in their hands, and to be honest, you almost expect them to win the round.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like Heroic wasn't ready for that. Like, they pushed quick outside. I think they wanted to take some duels because they thought they had the range advantage, especially with the AKs, and then they just got met by like a big orb, and they were just like, okay, what do we do then? And that's the hard part about Counter-Strike, like that mentality change you have to have, that mid-round call. You have to come in from an A-game leader.
No.
Robs, what?
Oh, that's the ultimate tease in my eyes. I'm a big fan of the XM. Rops gets him to 2 HP. You almost feel like at that point you should just give him the $900 for trying. At the same time, though,
Sonny's going to get that money.
Yeah, not quite as much. It's $300. He's switched over to the better weapon, of course, the XM, now in his hands. But the fact is, all jokes aside, that sort of early trade is not bad at all for the CTs. They went in for a bit of a more aggressive play. Still, though, they're now starting to go a little bit too much. This is what we actually saw in one of the rounds where they lost. It was like they lost a player, so another player tries to trade. Yeah. Then they lose the trader, then another player tries to trade, and it just seems like a domino effect where they're just losing more players because of aggression. You have to remember, this was a 4v3. They've just thrown 2 players away pushing. Heroic, I would say they're not really a team you want to do that against. They're pretty good in their defaults, pretty good at holding strong. It's when they have to push that they're not actually in the better positions.
They are a team who are very confident and comfortable in the fact of like answering what other people throw at them. Yeah. They're not that good at specifically driving their own game into the face of the opposition, but if the opposition just hands them opportunities, they're very quick to punish them and very efficient at that. They're very clinical players in that sense. Modi inside will be picked off. Now 2v2. Chris J rotating around the bomb train. Bomb plant is going to come in with 15 seconds to go. Chris J, what can you do here then? Flying Dutchman. We'll miss that first one, and now it's all on Mr. Tractor. Stiko himself. See if he can run over Mertz. Not sure if he's got the 300 hertz monitor just yet. With the FAMAS in hand, Stiko ready to battle.
Doesn't have himself the kit. That's the biggest problem. He will actually bait out the peak, but Mertz is not going to be missing. The thing I find really funny about that meme, like the sort of like 300 hertz Mertz, is that now we're actually not that far away from there genuinely being that monitor. So it's like we're just gonna have to up it to like 600 just for the meme to actually continue.
Yeah, there's only 60 hertz difference. It's 240 at every big tournament now, so I don't know. Well, timeout coming. We do have a tactical one called by Heroic.
Yeah, I think not a bad time to do it either. They've just managed to sort of break back after a few sort of riskier rounds, the 4 spies coming in, and I think it's important for Heroic to get a few rounds over on the other side, because that's the thing, like mousesports CT side of this map has always been pretty damn good. I would say that if they get those double ops, normally they're pretty scary, and I think the only reason that so far mousesports have been punished is because of the level of aggression. The thing is, though, there's still 4 spying. Chris J, he can't afford the AWP, so he's got the mini one, the AUG, in hands instead. Oscar's still going to have his AWP, and well, at any time, this man can just step up and ruin a round for your team.
Oscar is definitely one of those next-level players. But will he be ready for this? Smokes are landing. Spidey senses are tingling. Ready with the AWP, hits the first one. Sonny with the assist as well, and Chris J on top of the trains, and it's all on Mertz. Will not pick up anything more than just 1 frag, and the damage to Chris J. And nice little reset by mousesports. Heroic pull out the timeout, and mousesports just smack them back onto the ground.
Yeah, you gotta remember, when you take a timeout, the opposition gets on as well. So they have a moment. The thing is, I see this a lot as well with mousesports when it comes up to like playing what I would say is lesser opponents than themselves. It's you see them have like rounds where you like, they shouldn't have lost that, and then the next round you go, well, they shouldn't have won that. Like they almost feel like they're playing a game that they wouldn't normally play, and because of that, a lot of the time they lose silly rounds and then they just win ones the same. At the same time, though, we've seen a similar sort of strategy each time Heroic comes into one of these reset rounds, where it's just like, hey, let's just run out main.
It also comes down to the fact, I feel like in these kind of matchups, that mousesports are really good at making the opposition, like, force them to play their own game. We saw in the couple of rounds that Heroic have actually won, it's been on the back of individual performances. It's been on 1 or 2 players to kind of step up, and that's the kind of game that mousesports can bring, because they are this star lineup, and everyone in every single role, every single position on that team can step up. And when you force Heroic, a team that's not built like that, to play that kind of game, you get an even bigger advantage than you usually have. And that's a problem for Heroic. That's what they need to fix. And that's why they've taken these 2 timeouts in a row, to kind of edge out. And I think it's Nasu, their coach, to kind of think about, okay, how do we bring this game back into our control? How do we do what we usually do? Because that's sometimes what you can do on that T side. You can control the pace.
Well, it looks like they're about to be pushing into the hands of Rops and Oscar. Not players I'd like to be moving in towards. And they've only got themselves the pistol. Going to try and wrap around. They've actually got a decent chance. It will just be a quick trade. An opportunity to get that bomb on towards the site. Sonny only with a scout in hand. Definitely not the ideal weapon, and just going to be hitting the tag. And the main position you want to watch is Modi, who's managed to sneak his way through in towards the connector. Now, Aztec's just going to try and sell a little bit of a fake. And now they may not expect the second player to be here, and that's exactly the case. Modi can end the life of 1. Looks for the second, but it's only a trade, and Asilian left with a P250 on the site. Is not really expected to win this one. Now, both players actually with scoped weapons here. Definitely not ideal, and the clock is burning fairly low. They've got to get their running shoes on. Chris J does have a kit, and Molotov just picked up by Oscar. Definitely could be useful, but Asilian just trying to play the game. They actually don't know where he is. Chris J will spot him, though, and in the nick of time, he is going to be able to get that defusal. It doesn't work out for Heroic, and now they sort of have to take the hit and eco.
That's so bad for the Heroic guys. In that situation, you have, like, Asilian with a P250. If he just goes for that first peek towards the side, he would have probably won that duel. And then there would have been no time for the defuse. And then they would have won that round. But once again,
hindsight.
It's the marginal situations. Like, mousesports, they win these kind of 50-50 rounds. And that can be very demoralizing, especially when you're on the T side of train when you're not really supposed to get that many rounds anyways. And you're kind of like stuck on these 3 rounds or stuck on these 2 rounds, and you just see your opposition just get more and more and more. And it becomes a very hard mental game to play. And that's why in these best of 2 setups where sometimes teams will be like pressured because it's so important to get at least 1 map out of these 2. And if you just get run over on map 1 mentally, it will be very hard to reset for map 2. Because it goes so fast.
This time it is just the hard eco. I think the other thing as well is for Heroic, as it was said on the desk, they are sort of one of those middle of the pack teams. And a lot of the time it comes down to very thin margins of whether they actually get through to the finals. I believe it was last season where they were insanely close. I think they fell short just to Hellraisers in the end.
Yeah, I think that.
And it was not even by like, I don't even think it was done by points. It was something like, it was like ridiculously close. It was like an OT points loss or something, which, yeah, that was it. They went to OT in their final game and that was it. If they just won clean, they were through. So their single map really can make a massive difference in the Pro League. And they are one of the teams who's actually also played quite a lot of their games fairly early on. So definitely not in the best of states. A map win versus mousesports would be great. Nice shot from S-Tag, but ultimately doesn't have much of a chance to win the round. Can at least make things a bit costly, but the fact is, I feel like a lot of the time we're harping on about, oh yeah, they're getting very close to a reset. They're almost doing it, and then they every time they get to the round, we're like, okay, now. They then lose that round to like 2 AWPs or an AWP and a Scout or an AWP and an AUG.
That is the Heroic story in a nutshell right there. Like, they're so close. Oh, they have these talents. Like back in the day, they have Nico, they have Yugi, they have this, and Snappy, this in-game leader who can frag. Oh, it's gonna happen. And then nothing happened. And the team fell apart. And now they have this new team. S-Attack is really stepping up. Freiberg is not back, but he's definitely better than he used to be in that time where Nip was kind of falling apart and he was taking most of the blame for it. Asilian, the in-game leader who can also frag. Mertz coming in, the new star also from Denmark. But we have a saying in Denmark that's basically translates to, it doesn't matter if you almost get there, if you don't get there.
Yeah.
Like 90% doesn't matter, 100% matters.
We're sort of like second is the first loser.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And that's Heroic right now.
I feel like Optic are in a similar boat though.
Yeah, I feel like, to be honest, like almost every team, North a bit better situated, I feel like, but almost every team apart from Astralis are in that boat because everyone expects them to be Astralis, and they are not. But they're very close, but they're not Astralis.
Yeah. Well, even Fragsters are making a ploy for that now, where they did very, very well at Star Series and then just fell a little bit short towards the end of it. But either way, we are back in with the purchase. 45 seconds left on the clock for Heroic to try and make their move. Already a couple of players stacked up towards that upper spot for the CT side. Definitely a bit more dynamic in their setup, but Money just absolutely wrecks one, but doesn't expect Rops to be there. He only finds one himself, but he has bought some time for the rotations and done a lot of damage to these T players. They are, however, going to get the chance for the afterplant, but obviously when it comes to train, you need to be a little bit more aggressive with your afterplants on the B site. The old days of the sort of constant retakes on this map have changed as teams tried to take the fight to the CT side. However, try and fail seems to be the case at the moment, but there's been a Bogdan's Law as S-Tag now has that AWP, and Mertz well placed, goes into the 1 versus 1. It's Chris J once again to try and fight this back, and it is just a game of cat and mouse as he goes peeking in, takes the headshot. The question is, does he have enough time? I think he may just about have it.
It comes down to the last second, and he will get it. That headshot onto S-Attack. He's not happy about that, because you can see he was watching that angle. He knew that, okay, if he pushes on the top of the train, I have him, but somehow, some way, the AUG just, with a downwards angle, won that duel. And once again, like, we're seeing Chris J make a pretty good argument for using the AUG on the CT side and using the AUG for these mid-range duels that it's kind of like you're not really sure if you should buy an AUG or if you should just play the M4. And the AUG is the perfect thing in between that. I think a lot of players will be looking towards that. I know Device also did a tweet, and I know from talking to him that he's seriously considering playing these zoomed weapons that's not the AUG way more after nothing.
So again, we've seen a faster play into the site, and once again, this AUG really is doing a lot of damage. I think Chris J as well is just, there's a few players who've always been like, okay, there's a weapon that not many people use, so I'll use it. It was the same when the Scout was like all the range with the jumping.
Yeah.
And it was like him, and I remember MBK saying the same thing. It's like, I know that this is broken, but unless they fix it, I'm just going to keep using it. Why wouldn't I?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I want to win. I want to win more than I want to, like, fair play or any of that. Like, it's all about the victory. So, this AUG is working, so who cares?
And on the other side of things, S-Attack and Ascillion both equipped with the Tech 9. It's been a long time since I've seen a Tech 9 in a pro game. Sonny's on point.
I think
I was hoping for another one bullet.
the thing is, I'm not sure I really miss the Tech 9.
No, I don't.
I'll be honest with you. Still getting nightmares
Oh, okay.
of just Olov running out that flat on cobblestone, everybody dying, and just being like, that doesn't make any sense.
S-Attack started out with a Tech 9 and now has grabbed himself an AK. Flashbang in hand.
Problem is they don't have the bomb. They have the B side, which is wonderful, but they're missing the explosive device needed to actually blow it up.
And you can see S-Attack, he's just like in his mind, okay, I need to get onto the side. Oh, wait.
Now what? And then the thing is, I'm pretty sure the CTs have found the bomb because they are not rotating at all. They've left Rops to have a little bit of an aim battle on the site. See if he can beat S-Tech. But the fact is, it doesn't actually matter. They're just happy to hold on to this bomb. And even Rops has just said, you know what, I'm half HP. I'm not going to bother either. I'm just going to walk away, reposition, and if he wants to hold on to that AK, he can hold on to that AK. Because the fact is, mousesports, they're going to get their 11th round on the board. And considering how the sort of economy battle has gone, how a lot of these rounds have gone, this scoreline's a lot more dominant than it probably should be.
Yeah. Now, Heroic, they have to get this round. Like, if they don't get this round number 4, they could basically lose it on the pistol. And that's a position you don't want to be in.
QB fire a call-in risk. They've done it before.
Don't mention it. Don't mention it, Tom.
The thing is, I remember, I think it was like one of the New York qualifiers as well. Envy did exactly the same thing. And there was actually like a happy ninja defuse in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's just mousesports on train, but in this situation, I'm going to say it. I shouldn't say it. I just don't see it happening. I don't see Heroic as one of those teams who can just turn the tide and just start destroying their opposition.
They are a team who are very good at like punishing mistakes, as I said before, trading rounds, just evenly going into a matchup and winning like round after round and then losing one, then winning one, all that stuff. They're not a team who will mount a big comeback. They simply don't have the star potential right now in this lineup. Like, who is the star really, if you want to point out? I would potentially at this point actually say S-Attack, which is really weird.
He was the guy who was benched not too long ago.
That's the point, right?
And then it was like he came back a bit like a phoenix. He was born again. And he to be fair to him, it's not
he's
like...
definitely played very well.
Yeah, he's played very well. Oh, Sonny, this is a position that you don't really want to face him in. He's going to be lined up, and Modi will actually find the opener. The problem is, you knock down one, there's still plenty more to go. And wow, this is just magnificent hold from this CT side. And the fact is, what you can see, Modi knows the bomb plant here doesn't even matter. There's no monetary gain. He's just got to try and win these fights from behind. Chris J, it doesn't even look like he stopped.
Yeah.
Just runs into the site and dominates.
You're running off, man. I was at a local Danish LAN last weekend, and when I wasn't casting, I was playing in the 2v2 tournament with my co-commentator. And we actually found out during that 2v2 tournament that the AUG running is deadly. And it almost doesn't make any sense.
Tech 9 Mark II.
Yeah, it's strange. And Chris J apparently has found the same up.
That's the thing, he is one of those players, if anybody was going to find something that is broken or overpowered, I would expect it to be him.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, he must just continuously just test annoying weapons. Because that's the other thing as well. I don't know if it does come into like the mentality of like a pro player, but if you're getting wrecked by a weapon that nobody uses, it still has to be one of those things where you're just like, why am I being killed by an AUG?
Especially if you haven't kind of research the situation and you have that like image of the AUG that everyone had 3 weeks ago and you get wrecked by it, you're wondering what am I doing wrong? And if you have spent some time researching it, you will probably be able to understand like why you're getting wrecked and why and what you can do kind of. But if you haven't made any research on the weapon, I doubt any of these players will like, I think they have done some of the research, but I don't know. It's a strange scenario because it can really affect you if you just looking at something and saying, I don't understand why I'm losing. Then what do you do? Because usually in Counter-Strike, and that's why we have the timeouts and the coaches, you want to identify the problem and then fix the problem. But you can't fix the problem if you can't identify it. And if you're just getting wrecked by an AWK and you don't know like how that works, you can't really do anything to fix it.
It's just Chris J things.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand why I'm getting wrecked, but I am, and there's not really much I can do about it. That is one thing I will always give props to the sort of snappy version of this team, is that I feel like he was very good at countering like specific teams. Like, if you ever look at their record versus a team like Imperial, who like firepower-wise should have been much better, their record against them was insane. At one point, it was something like 10-0, just because every time they'd just be like, hey, he likes to play here. Let's just ignore him and play our own game, and they would win. Either way, this is a very fast push into the B side. Rop's leading the charge. Modi is the only defender, but he does manage to find an early pick, and that's always important. In fact, a second comes in for Modi. Oscar is there to trade one back, and they are going to try and take a little bit more aggression. But look at S-Tag already coming in on the flank, and you can see the CT side were ready and waiting for further aggression to come in. It's left all onto Sunny. He is surrounded, so if he manages to pull this one off, I'll be very surprised. In fact, they could already start just defusing that bomb. Actually, nice shot onto one. Now, he has a chance. Yeah, S-Tag pushing. I thought he might actually find that headshot.
Yeah, if he finds a kill onto S-Tag, he's basically won the round.
Yeah.
But luckily for Heroic, S-Attack will keep the dream alive. 2 frags for him and 2 very nice defensive frags for Modi as well. That's kind of what you want if you're playing one on the inner bomb side. You want him to be able to take 1 or 2 frags. Yeah. 1 frag a buy time, 2 frags, and rotate back. That's kind of the dream scenario in this situation. And Modi does the perfect thing here. Takes 2 frags, takes a headshot, goes back, and waits for the retake. And that's the perfect way to play that inner bomb side alone.
It does, however, allow for a bomb plant, and well, this is what you can get. Some of the spicier buys coming in. The second round AK. All this is about is damage. That's all they really want. Sunny gets a kill or 2. Maybe enables them to get a second bomb plant. This would be absolutely perfect going into the next round.
Finish Wonder Child. Sunny.
I think there's a few of those now.
Yeah, Sergey as well. Definitely an interesting player. If I'm not mistaken, ENCE are still in MDL, but they're doing pretty well. So they have a chance of qualifying for this next season.
Aerial as well.
Oh, yeah.
That Star Series was superb.
Alexi B, in my mind as well, also an interesting player.
Basically just
the whole ENCE team. Out, like, Natsu sitting
Natu,
somewhere
you can pay me later. Not that you need to. I think you've got enough hype from the Finnish fans whenever an ENCE game is playing. There's only ever one phrase spammed in the chat, which I will not name, because otherwise it will be spammed in our chat as well.
MP5 as well on Freiburg. And this is kind of like the change we've seen in Counter-Strike. Seeing an AWK, seeing an MP5.
To be fair, the AWK was there before. MP5, if someone got it, they were cheating, because it didn't exist. So if they managed to get it before, I would have been very impressed. Wait, clock's starting to burn fairly low. It seems like the CT side have a pretty decent read on where this is going, although they did just rotate a player back over towards the other side. It's going to be this man in the corner, but actually Rops finds one. This is already way too much damage, and they're going to get a bomb plant. The AK hasn't had to do anything yet, and they've already got an extra ding. This really could be problematic. They don't even know that this AK-47 is still in play with Kevlar behind it. Rops also up close. He's not even bothering to use the M4 that's currently sat on his back, and he's going to look to sneak forward. S-Tag up above will meet the same fate, and this is not a round the Heroic can afford to lose, but it's looking like it's going that way already. Now the AK looks to come into play, and it's left onto just Freiburg into a 1 versus 2, but the bomb is ticking far too much. It is going to be mousesports to win a round, and well, I was saying, yeah, Risk, they could do a bit of damage with this AK. The AK barely did anything.
This is the worst case scenario for Heroic. Like, 1 AK, yes, you can allow a bomb plant. Yes, you can allow them maybe to get 2 frags with that AK investment, but losing the round in itself, but also losing it in this fashion.
Basically, what you're saying is if you weren't broken before, Risk, you definitely are now.
Definitely broken. And now, what do? Like,
all in.
Get a scout, get some C-sets, get some deagles going. I think that's the play.
Throw the chips into the center. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's been hard to see. Especially with the Cillian, usually an in-game leader who can frag out, but he's only on 3 frags so far, so commiserations to my boy Aska. Not having a great game.
on the other side of things.
Oh.
No, sneaking
Okay.
through. S-Tag might be about to meet Rops. Oscar is still here. Rob's probably a little bit surprised as how someone managed to get past there. The problem is if Asilium moves forward at all, he is dead.
Okay,
Fiber. Okay, maybe they're going to look to turn this back. This was the plan all along. Oh, they've given Chris J an AUG. What have they done?
It's over, Tom.
They've made a massive mistake. And, well, he's only got an assist so far. Ooh, nice shot from Mertz. Chris J, he's still there. Oh, Mertz is very low. There shouldn't be any way he manages to win this, but he actually gets the kill. Onto Chris J. Sticko's going to go rotating away. He's had enough of that battle. He's going to reposition everything, put the bomb down. He can pretty much put it wherever he likes, but he's just going to go for the standard default plant. Doesn't have much utility to actually, like, for example, a Molotov to throw onto the bomb. But the fact is, Mertz doesn't have a kit. He doesn't even have a weapon. It doesn't matter so much because one shot at the Deagle.
It's the best weapon in the game.
It's not, but all right. We'll see.
And he has a smoke and a flash, and like Stico. This is very, very hard for Merciclass. Like, he's done a phenomenal job getting 2 frags in, especially that last one, but he needs a miracle.
Yeah, it's... Well, there's no way. He doesn't even have enough time to defuse it anyway, so it is just going to be Sticko. This is the sort of thing that you kind of expect from Sticko. Just basically just went, okay, you guys can have your little fight over here. I'm just going to go win us the round, do the job that's needed. And I'm actually very, very happy to see him back in the team. I think it was... I imagine him walking back into the sort of mousesports offices just going, oh, you want me back? Oh, do you?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't see this one coming. Oh, I wasn't fragging enough. Just like, you would just be the most sarcastic person. Well, I know I would, but then that's just sort of how I am anyway. But you just sort of walk back in just like, don't worry, guys.
Stico's such a nice guy. He probably wouldn't even say anything. He'll just be like, you need my help? I'll be there. Like, that's the kind of person he is. And here comes the AK spray. Sonny will get a double. Stico will get some nice stats added to his account.
Asilian could definitely use a few of those in this one, but it is going to be 15-4. Absolute dominance. I think this is going to be a pretty tough one to break down. I think a lot of it's just going to come down to a lot of those economy games in the early stages of the first half. And, well, obviously now being even more broken, Chris J, he's gone for the all counterpart. Krieg.
Yeah, actually the one that was being used before this update. We saw some players pull it out at some point.
But didn't Magisk use it once or twice?
Yeah, he's definitely one of the players who did use it before.
Here we go.
Now okay.
No.
Well, that was pretty magical.
He couldn't do it twice, but even still, I don't even know who he hit. There were so many people
I don't
there
even
to
think
kill.
he himself was expecting to hit anything there.
Just a little bit of RNG, which goes a long way, and the fact is, this is looking like the last round.
They're ready for the boost as well. Nice by Fireberg.
Tries to save them. It's Mertz on the site. The thing is, he doesn't have any armor. Not much to play with. Modi will peek out for one, but the trades from mousesports are just on point. The second one man drops, the other will trade it out. Nice shot from Mertz, though. We'll remove one from play and leave it on to Sticko. It's the same 1v1 that we saw a moment ago, although this time Sticko doesn't have much of a chance to reposition the bomb. He can't try and take this into a different fight, as the bomb is planted or left in the open. Still plenty of time,
he's reading this one so perfectly. He's so ready. Look how ready he was, Tom. He read that like a book.
That's where people should be just spamming VAC in the chat. That's exactly what you needed. He's activated his word.exe.
Yeah, I was about to say the new chat spam. Or .exe. There we go. Just casually writing my midterm essay.
I still genuinely can't believe that. He might as well have called it, like, not cheats. Like, at that point, like, it's getting to that point where it's just, he might as well, don't open this file, it's bad.
This is not for you, Mr. Admin. .exe.
Don't read if you're an admin.
Redstone, once again, and they're pressuring into main here. Little double smoke, bit unnecessary, but they get map control, they smoke it off. Now they can focus on this area exactly where Stico is, push him back. And this is the first time that I've seen Heroic on the CT side actually do something proactively, kind of take control of the game. And this is what I wanted to see 10 rounds ago, 15 rounds ago. Them taking control over the game, which the control, it has been in the hands of mousesports for this entire time. even in these 5 rounds that Heroic has actually gotten, it's been down to individuals stepping up. The team control has 100% been in mousesports' favor.
Well, they're going to try and take back a little bit of Ivy control. In fact, a 3-man push round the corner. Sunny is going to fall. But yeah, being much more proactive in this round. And even still, the second they find that frag, you can see the rotations coming in from the CT side. They're trying to reposition, get themselves extra spots on the map, and they're actually going to go peek it even more. They're just full aggression mode at the moment. They haven't taken their foot off the pedal, and they've left it down to just 2. Chris J... Well, just Chris J didn't even get to finish the sentence before he died. He's going to try and do a bit of damage along the way. Looking for that second. Nice shot from Chris. Looking to try and do it all alone. He hasn't got much time, and Asilium will finally put him down. I feel like both of us for a second there were in our minds just went, no.
This is the play. This
Surely
is the
not.
Chris J play.
He wants another ace to top the last one.
But yeah, like as we said, like this is the first time in the matchup where we've seen Heroic take control, and I really like the way that they do it. Apart from that one peak from Muddy, but that's basically on the back of them taking so much map control on the other side of the map that he feels like, okay, I haven't seen anything. I can push in now. I feel like this is clear, and it was the right call. It's just a dangerous one. But the way that they take control over main, 2 guys pushing in, the same on Ivy. They do the nice 2-man push, the refrag push, and it works out. Once again, Muddy pushing aggressively. This one is because he knows it's against an Eco. He just mows them down. Muddy. Maybe the tractor was Steeko, but this one, that's a Swedish version.
A nice little bit of stat padding. See if he can do it in the next round. Then I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed if he can do it in this one.
Yeah.
That's where the AKs come back in. No AWP. Still going to be the SSG.
Yeah, I'd love to see Heroic take some control in either Pop Dog main or Ivy to begin with this round. And they are playing a sole inside player, so it seems that that's the way to go. And that's actually the way they are going to do it. 3 players heavily stacked outside, close to the T positions. Mertz picking up the first one in main, and now they will be focusing on that Pop Dog area. But this becomes a problem. mousesports have read this aggression outside. They know, okay, they push outside, they stack outside. Now we're going to push inside quickly. Modi will be under heavy pressure when they decide to push in.
I like this though, they've just opted to fall back. Try and hold positions. Obviously, when it comes to this map, retaking when the T's are all the way back towards the site is actually fairly easy. You'd expect them to do it, especially with the flank coming in. Timing not quite there for Astat, though. Robs is going to peek out from above. That could have been the clinical factor, but Asilium with another keeps the man advantage going. Modi with actually a double of his own, and this round is done within seconds. That's exactly how the old sort of CS used to be played, though, where nobody took aggression on the map. This time, though, it wasn't so much that mousesports didn't try. Heroic didn't let them. No. They had the smokes, they had everything defended, they fell back to positions where if mousesports tried to take control, they were screwed, and then they retook as a team. That was actually very well done by Heroic.
These last 2 buy rounds from Heroic have been perfect. The eco round from mousesports, the way that they handled that with heavy aggression inside and then staying back on the outside because that's where they expect the push to come, is also perfect. So 3 perfect rounds in a row now for Heroic. And I kind of feel... I feel like if this had come 10 rounds early into the game, this would have been a really, really exciting game. Because mousesports will always, somehow, some way, in like 5 rounds, they'll just win a round completely off individual players.
Chris J with the Krieg.
I don't think that there's any way that Heroic are going to come back and tie this game up, even if they play perfect from now on. Because at some point, someone is just going to step up for mousesports. And that's why it's so dangerous letting them get on 14, 15 rounds. Because... any one of these 5 players in the mousesports lineup can do a 1v3 clutch, can do a 1v4 clutch in a specific scenario. We've seen it before. This one is not a good start, though.
Oh, Rops probably having a little bit of a giggle, and now it's Freiburg's turn to pad his stats a little bit. The annoying thing is that would have been an ace if Rops hadn't shot his own teammate in the back of the head, so that's something at least. Nice little cleanup from him. What I will say, though, Risk, is if the comeback does happen, that means you're getting QB fired.
Oh, yeah. Do I have to eat a shoe as well?
Yeah, that's dangerous. You could just say you'll eat a shoe and then not actually do it. Just do other stuff instead.
I'll probably just go the safe route and not say I'll eat a shoe.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this is way more likely than QB Fire. Let's be real.
Well, it's against the same team. And also QB Fire had to win multiple games.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I would agree. Obviously, the QB Fire, well, at least that roster is no more. Windstrike have changed things up. They brought in some of the old Flipside guys. Not Markelov, though. So at the moment,
That's the only one that I'm really...
Flipside is everybody's favorite team.
Because it only has Markelov.
It is only Markelov. It's a smiley man.
The 1.6 legend.
He's just gonna... He plays all spots now. He's
yeah,
IGL,
it's just 5 Markelovs.
Orpa.
What more can you want, really?
To be fair, I'd watch. Either way.
Resmoke Ivy. Freiburg still stuck behind this, spraying through, giving his position away. Flashbang from main outside could bring them into control on Ivy, but they're going to just keep on pushing forward. mousesports not doing anything, they're just taking map control and losing duels. Once again, Tom, like, this is a perfect round, and Heroic, this one was not perfect from them, they just played it nicely, but mousesports just didn't do anything. They seem shell-shocked.
Flashbacks. Maybe that's just me.
Chris J's on 26-14.
Yeah, he's had some pretty incredible rounds with the AUG, but obviously can't buy it on the other side.
No. Now we're going to have the pistol force execute. I think this one is going to be the inside push with the kind of utility they're throwing into this. It's very easy with this utility to get at least a plant and then hold it post-plant with these pistols.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like these are the sort of rounds where I can just see mousesports just stealing it.
Yep.
And that's what's so infuriating, is that these pistols are so good, but also, if they're utilized correctly, they can be very, very scary. Here we go, though. Push in towards the side. Cillian doesn't manage to do anything. Modi only finding one, and the spray from Cillian is wild. Eventually, he'll be put down by Oscar from a distance with that P250, and now he can look to close it. However, Freiburg able to turn things back. Chris J has managed to pick up a rifle, but it'll quickly be put down. Freiburg really is looking to try and just save them in this position, and Mertz will finally chime in with one more. Great work from Freiburg in the retake, and important as well, because if he only gets one and goes down, there's still a good chance, for example, for Chris J with that rifle that he picked up to close it for them.
Yeah, Heroic. Bunch of money on the account, but doesn't really matter at this point. If they lose a single round, it's done anyways.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't feel like Mertz, at least from what I remember, has done that much, but at the same time, it doesn't look like he's dying. He's got $14,000. Same with Freiburg. Yeah,
Freiburg had 16k before buying here. But Mertz is one of those offers that oh, that's a nice one. He's either very, very flashy or very, very silent, but we'll still get an off rank here and there. But Oscar might change everything now, and he will, taking out S-Attack, and this might be the round. Oscar steps up, and as I said before, mousesports, they have players who can individually just step up and open rounds and close them on their own, but Mertz now stepping back. Christian on the other side of the smoke, playing it carefully.
Oh, Achi's found, though, and that could become a problem. The remaining player's fairly passive. It's more that rotation coming in from behind. Sunny looking to lurk in the back lines. Still, though, Rops actually going to manage to take one down. They don't actually have a smoke for this, but it's already on the bomb. Sunny will pick up one in the back lines, but Freiburg, again, doing excellent work, and already there's a man on the defusal. Mertz is just going to take it. You almost see Sunny just stop and go, oh, for God's sake, because it's another round on the board. And the fact is, the man above there didn't really need to peek. Like, that flank from Sunny was so powerful, but didn't seem to be utilized properly at all from mousesports.
They got 2 openings from Oscar. They get the bomb down. They have a Molotov in the post plant. What more can you want? Like, that's a perfect cocktail for mousesports. They'll take that any day of the week.
All the rounds.
Oh, Freiburg.
He wants this. There's still money.
That's a really good nade. And he
filthy.
can block that off with the smoke. This is a perfect start. Once again, he's going to get a frac through the smoke, Freiburg. This is so huge in round number 28. To not only do damage onto Stika, but to take the frag round to Chris J, lock down this entire area of map control. This is also the buy that for 3 of the players, or 2 of the players, is basically forcing mousesports to have pistols next round.
This is the man who, I reckon, taught like 90% of people how to spray. I know I watched his videos. I don't know about anybody else, but...
Thank Mr. Freiburg.
Yeah, always. Always. But that was impressive to say the least, just completely shutting down Ivy. And it wasn't like it was just one player. There were 3 players around there for mousesports, none of them able to counter not only the utility usage, but also that opening pick. He's already fallen back, and the T's looking a little bit flat. This is something that always seems to happen over on this T side for mousesports. CT side, a lot of the time you can't fault it. Their T side, questions seem to be raised. They're going to try and push out through this spot again. Freiburg doing work, but it's Oscar through the smoke to find him. Still, the trades coming in left and right, and well, 30 seconds left, but they have actually turned this into a 3v3. Asilian going to go very aggressive, picks off one, can't quite find the trade. It's more down to S-Tech through the smoke. He could do absolutely everything here if he gets the timing right, which he does. Finds Sunny without any response, and it's left onto Rops, and now he really is stuck in a horrible position. He needs to pick off these players, but he has managed to actually switch this up to B.
He has time for this, I'm pretty sure, just to get the plant down. Yeah, if he goes on the left side, he has plenty of time to also find a post-plant position. How's he going to play this? On the train itself. Heard the footsteps. Finds the first one. Oh, he finds the door, but can't finish it. And Tom, that's going to be 13. Look at the money for mousesports right now. They don't have money for a full buy. This is going to be probably a couple of Desert Eagles. Actually, they might. No, the lost bonus.
Lost bonus.
I did the math wrong. That's the one mistake you never can make as a caster.
You know what? You've had a long day.
Never do
I'll let
math
you
on stream.
Don't worry. We only have, what, 7 maps after this to go? I'm sure your math will get better throughout the day.
Oh, yeah, of course. The more tired I get, the better
I'll
my
ask you a
math gets.
complicated maths question in the last map at like 7 a.m.
Yes, very nice.
If I can remember
Square root
math.
of something.
Square root, you know, the most complicated of all the mathematical
very
problems. Well, look at this. mousesports, balls to the wall. They've given up with strategy. Just going to try and run in. Chris J, we'll call him Neo, and no, they're going to line up perfectly. This is problematic now. Left. Freiburg trying to peek back in. He's been so good so far, though. Leaves it at least into a closer situation, but the trade's just coming back. He has to do absolutely everything. Needs an ace to win this. Almost gets Sicko through the smoke, but it isn't quite enough. He's got 3, but he can't get all 5, and Oscar is going to be there to close it. mousesports win it out, but damn was it close. Either way, I believe we're going to be going right off to the break, and to be honest, I don't want to be the analyst having to break that down because it came way too close for comfort in the end.
We're going to have a couple of the highlights here, as we do have mousesports winning it out, and that has to be gut-wrenching for Heroic. They came so close to finishing that comeback, but in the end, it's going to be mousesports to grab it 16 rounds to them.